If episode 2 left you feeling shaken, episode 3 takes everything even further. From the very first moment, this episode pulls you straight into the tension, confusion, warnings, and heartbreak that surround Jesus during his final days in Jerusalem. And today, we're breaking down every major idea, every emotional shift, and every conversation that makes this one of the most powerful episodes of the season. Let's start right at the beginning. This season continues its pattern of opening with a scene from the Last Supper, but shown in reverse order. It may look stylistic at first, but each section of the Last Supper connects directly to the message of that episode. And for episode 3, the central theme is sharp and simple. Can you still trust when you do not understand? From the moment the disciples speak, you can feel their uncertainty. They're overwhelmed by everything Jesus has been doing. They are wrestling with actions they didn't expect, teachings they don't fully understand, and emotions they can't easily explain. Philip captures that feeling when he says, "Show us the Father, and that will be enough." It's a sincere request from someone who wants clarity in the middle of confusion, but Jesus' response is almost heartbreaking. After all this time, do you still need more? He isn't upset because they asked. He's upset because they still don't see what's right in front of them. Now, Philip wasn't asking to physically see God's face. Jewish tradition taught that seeing God directly would mean instant death. Instead, Philip seems to be saying, "Help us understand. Help us see clearly what you're saying and what you're doing." He wants to connect the dots. He wants certainty. And he's not alone. All the disciples feel the same way. This confusion is understandable when we remember something important. The disciples didn't grow up learning about the Trinity. They didn't have a developed idea of God as Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Many Jews in that time believed the Messiah would be a chosen leader, not necessarily a divine being. So when Jesus speaks of his Father or of his unity with the Father, they're trying to interpret everything through a framework they never expected. Still, some disciples likely understood Jesus' divinity. After all, Thomas would later say, "My Lord and my God." Peter had moments of deep understanding too. But even with those glimpses, they struggled to make sense of the bigger picture. Their hopes for the Messiah weren't wrong, but they were incomplete. And then the conversation shifts to another major subject, the Holy Spirit. Jesus promises to send a helper, and the disciples try to process what that means. Some get caught on the idea of someone else, which raises deep questions about identity and divinity. Yet the Spirit is not a new concept. The Spirit appeared throughout the Old Testament, from creation to empowering prophets and kings. The new thing isn't the Spirit's existence, it's his presence inside God's people. They will become the new dwelling place of God. This leads us into one of the most shocking scenes of the episode. The cleansing of the temple. Tables flipping, coins scattering, sellers running. The disciples have never seen Jesus like this. And afterward, when they gather together to talk, every face shows the same emotion, disbelief. Thaddeus, who knew Jesus before the others, tries to explain his heart. Some wonder whether people were hurt. Others admit that they're shaken in ways they didn't expect. They all feel the weight of the moment, and sitting quietly in the background is Judas. But in this episode, Judas finally speaks openly about his doubts. He says he finds it hard to trust Jesus when Jesus is doing the opposite of what a Messiah should do. His words reveal more than frustration, they reveal a growing gap between what he expects and what Jesus is actually doing. Judas wants a Messiah who unites and conquers, not one who confronts his own people. Here's the great irony. Many Jews believed the Messiah would overthrow Rome, not challenge the temple leadership. The Messiah was supposed to cleanse the land of foreign influence, not rebuke religious leaders. So Jesus' actions feel backwards to them. They're not just confused or disturbed. This tension grows when Jesus enters the temple courts to teach publicly. A large crowd gathers. Religious leaders stand close by, waiting for the right moment to trap him. In their culture and honor and shame society, public questions were more than debates. They were battles for reputation. If the leaders made Jesus look foolish, they would regain the respect they'd lost. But if Jesus responded with wisdom, they would lose even more ground. Many people believe this questioning connects symbolically to the inspection of the Passover lamb. For several days before Passover, The lamb was examined for any imperfections. Only a spotless lamb could be sacrificed. In the same way, Jesus is being inspected through these questions. The leaders want to prove he is flawed, but every attempt only exposes their own blindness. Then comes one of the most famous lines Jesus ever spoke: "Give to Caesar what is Caesar's, and to God what is God's." At first glance, it seems simple. The coin has Caesar's image, so return it to him. But Jesus' deeper point is stunning. Humans bear God's image, so give God what belongs to him your whole life. But not everyone liked that answer. Some Jews hated paying taxes to Rome. When Jesus didn't condemn the Roman tax, a portion of the crowd turned against him. For the first time, the crowd begins to split. Next, Jesus tells the parable of the vineyard tenants, a story that reveals the corruption and violence of the religious leaders. As the disciples act out the story, the leaders realize Jesus is talking about them. They feel exposed, shamed, and furious, yet Jesus still acknowledges their position. He says they sit in Moses' seat, meaning they hold legitimate authority, even if they misuse it. His criticism doesn't reject the law or Jewish tradition. He corrects the misuse of it. He reminds them and us that it's possible to follow rituals perfectly and still miss the heart of God. They tithe tiny herbs but ignore justice, mercy, and faithfulness. Jesus' message becomes even more confrontational when he compares them to their ancestors, those who killed the prophets. He essentially tells them that they are walking the same path. Even the disciples realize Jesus is hinting at his own death. Then the episode enters one of its most emotional sections: the prophecy about the destruction of the temple and the future of Jerusalem. Historically, the temple would fall in AD 70 when the Romans crushed the Jewish revolt. But Jesus' words stretch beyond a single event. Like many prophetic messages, it carries both a near meaning and a far meaning. It speaks to their present, their future, and ultimately the end of the age. We watch Jesus become deeply saddened, not for himself, but for Jerusalem, for the suffering ahead, and for a world that continues to reject truth. Finally, the episode gives us a powerful and controversial moment: Jesus experiencing end-of-life visions, seeing figures like David. While some may question this choice, the symbolism is rich. David knew rejection, threats, exile, pain, and yet God vindicated him. That story points directly to Jesus' journey toward the cross. The final image of Jesus standing among sheep is a quiet but moving reminder. He is the Good Shepherd. He is the true Son of David. He is the one who carries his people even when they do not understand him, with the sun lowering behind him. The moment captures everything the episode tries to show: confusion, conflict, prophecy, heartbreak, and hope. The disciples are trying to find their way. Jesus is carrying the weight of the world, and every step is moving closer to the ultimate sacrifice.